previous part in description, so go watch it first.
Eventually, the bug reapers appear, with tons of students taking pictures, and some reporters are also there to talk about the situation. The previous researcher and a new one start looking around the area, and they notice that this place also looks like a battlefield more than anything. Perhaps some insects were fighting, but why do that, since there were people here? The other researcher remembers what the thug told him about the kid appearing, and notes that it must have been for defense, be it territorial or something else. One of the bug reaper workers tells him that the schoolgirl who survived the beetle attack just woke up and said that a man donning a black hero suit saved her. As they walk to the ambulance, they hear that one of the other students who survived gets interviewed. He says that he instantly saved all of his friends who could not escape and quickly reported the scene to the bug reapers. He spits out all of these lies with a smile, and he even tries to show them the footage that he recorded of the beetle beasts. But his recordings are blacked out and most are corrupted. The employee says that if that kid really had something, the journalists would have been on it first. So shouldn't they just get them out of here so that they don't interfere any longer? The smoking researcher tells him to ignore it, as this is not an urban legend any longer, so it's only natural for the media to get into it. The scarred researcher asks if this will even be taken seriously, as unless one is a victim themselves, it is hard to believe in the existence of these things. As they arrive at Cho's location, who is talking with her mother, she puts her respiratory helper back on her mouth, as she doesn't like people who smoke at school. He puts the cigarette out and says that it's actually an insect repellent, but he will stop for her. He asks about the situation. Does she recall anything important? She explains that when that monster that was once their teacher tried to kill them, a black-suited human appeared. The scarred researcher asks why she is calling that thing a human, which she doesn't really know. He just seemed like a human, even if he looked different. She was knocked out afterwards, so she doesn't remember much else. But she knows that the guy who saved them was different. He protected them. The smoker researcher asks if there are any other students besides her that were exempt from doing the cleaning, and she says that there is only one, Sun. When he gets home, Sun's grandma invites him warmly and tells him to come and eat, as she has prepared all of his favorite dishes today. Sun looks at all of the food with a certain disgust and says that he is not hungry today. That's when the grandma notices that he is bruised up and really dirty in some places, so she asks if he's fine. He confirms it, while apologizing once again that he cannot taste her cooking, but to her it doesn't care, so long as he is healthy. She tells him to go in his room and not worry about the food, as she is sure that he needs to relax, but he still feels guilty about it, and says that he will eat it all in the morning. After he goes into his room, the grandma starts to cry, as their lively little boy has turned into a monotone person who becomes weirder by the day. As night falls, Sun's aunts start carrying pieces of something with them, directly to his room, as he has left the window open slightly. While they do that, news about what happened at the high school starts blaring, where people around the area say their piece about the Insectors. They are a blight on their peaceful lives, and it's very scary that they live among everyone without a care in the world. They should all be exterminated at once. The ants slowly go back into Sun's body as he starts feeling the food that they got for him and where they got it from. A beetle. The next day, the police start searching an abandoned building as they believe that it's tied to a series of child disappearances. The operation involved 3 people, a captain and 2 geared soldiers. They make it all the way to the 3rd floor, where they move swiftly across the stairs until they hear a bunch of strange sounds and they stop. The captain slowly moves near a wall, and when he peeks to see what is in the room, they hear the noise. His eyes widen, as there are a bunch of cocoons placed here. Outside of this building, 3 people sit in a car, one of them being the smoking researcher leader. One of them, a part of the bug leader combat unit, Tae, says that this operation is rather boring. Can't they just go there and get rid of everything quickly? The other person from the combat unit, Sam, says that they are both still under review by the government, so it's only natural that the police have priority in this investigation. That's when the captain requests immediate support at the scene over the radio. Tae asks Sam why he is shaking so damn much, as he's going to stand outside mostly anyways. But the smoking research team leader, Pio, tells them to not joke around so much and get going already. The policemen inside begin cutting up the cocoons from the ceiling, with one of them feeling that they should have waited for the bug reapers, but the captain insists they get out of here as quickly as possible, since their opponent is an insector. As they start opening up the cocoons and allowing the kids to finally breathe, the other policeman is instantly killed through the cocoon opening. As the thing that was hiding in that cocoon was the insector they feared of, who asks them to let go of his children now. The other policeman immediately starts shooting in an attempt to cover his captain, but in a second the insector goes through him. The captain is shocked, as this creature is faster than anything he has seen before, and now, it will be his turn to face it. Before the insector can get to him, a single bullet breaks his sprint and almost rips his pointy needle. This amazing shot was taken by Sam, who is very far away and laments having missed the shot, as that thing is way too fast. The Insector asks what they are doing, as using bullets might put his merchandise in danger. Have they no sense? He charges the captain once again, but this time he is stopped by Tae, who wonders why this scum is talking with such a high tone. The Insector is surprised by his sudden presence, so it asks who he is, and as he hits it, Tae says that he is a bug reaper. As he gets thrown into the wall, Pio tells the captain to leave with the kids, as this is their business from now on. The Insector gets mad at him, as there is no way he will just let that much money leave him. But before he can dash away, Pio uses his smoke to fully incapacitate his body for a short while. Pio explains that he will come with them quietly and spit out everything about the children selling and more. The Insector removes his needle fully and says that weaklings like them should stay inside, as he wasn't looking for them. That damn black ant just isn't showing up. Before they can ask more, the Insector unleashes tons of pointy needles at the two. Pio inhales all of the smoke at once and lets it out, while Tae uses his staff skills to deflect the projectiles. With this, the Insector is allowed to escape the building, leaving the two to tell Sam to shoot. But it's too late, as he has been hit already, although he is still alive. They lament having lost the fly Insector, but now there is nothing that they can do. After the incident involving the students, the school was closed for an entire week, as memorial for the dead children continued, and Soo Young, who first reported the Insector, was awarded with the Brave Citizen Award, something which he did not deserve. Cho looks at this on her phone while her brother is playing around, but he tries to scare her, so she gives him a good few thwacks to teach him a lesson. This makes him run away, as he will go and tell their mom, which she doesn't give a crap about. She hates having to look after her younger brother only because she is not going to school, as she isn't in the mood after what happened. She hears that he's trying to scare another person, but when she looks behind, she notices that it was Sun he was trying to scare, who's enjoying some ice cream. After this, they all start eating some with him, as he has bought plenty. But Cho can only think how she revealed his identity to the Bug Reapers. Maybe it was a bad idea. She asks if something bad happened recently, or he was disturbed, but Sun says that everything is fine, which comes as a relief to her. Her brother builds a pyramid out of the ice cream sticks, but that's when he notices a ball and goes to play soccer with the other child that is there. Sun begins to bite his ice cream stick even harder as he looks at them, making Cho wonder if he didn't have enough already. Suddenly, the kids lose the ball, so they both start going after it together through a small rupture in the fence, while Cho tells her brother to get back here, but he doesn't listen. Sun says that he will go after him, which Cho tries to refuse, but he does so anyway. As he gets through the small rupture in the fence, he spots the other kid with a familiar mask, who asks him what he's doing while giving him a knowing glare. Cho's brother eventually makes it back to her, and explains that her friend told him to go back to her and wait. Sun tells the kid to sit still, but he says that he shouldn't be aggressive, as they are both hunters. However, when he was about to score his next meal, he decided to ruin it for him. He was already in a pretty bad mood because of some Bug Reaper bastards, but this just takes the cake. He will let him go since he seems like a complete newbie, but he will not be so merciful the next time, as he will beat him up if he finds him in his territory again. Sun pulls his band-aid off, and as he equips his armor, he asks what territory he's talking about. The Insector is extremely surprised, but he is glad, as he has finally found the traitor hunter, the Black Ant. He has been waiting for him, as there are rumors that he eats other bugs these days, so if that's true, he must be aiming for him next. However, he already dared to interrupt him in a hunt, so he will eat him, and become a superbug. The Insector transforms into his original form, and immediately strikes Sun, who just regenerates back his armor. The Insector is not done, however, as he keeps moving at lightning-fast speeds while mocking him for daring to fight someone as mighty as him. Sun just scratches his head, and with one shut up, he puts the Insector into the ground with a single punch, his patience having run out a long time ago. Eventually, Sun gets out of the wooden clearing and notes that he found the ball and took it back home to its owner. Cho's brother asks if he can eat more ice cream, as it seems to be too much for just one person. Cho finds his attitude rude, but Sun smiles and says that he can have it all, something which surprised her, as she has never seen him smile. She asks once again if they can have all of this, and he confirms it again, as he is very full now. In the wooden clearing, the Insector's body lies desecrated, as the ants eat him slowly, but surely. After their sudden vacation is done, the students go back to school like nothing ever happened, with most just chatting about what they did with the week they had, and a myriad of other things. Nobody thinking about the Insectors and how they are everywhere. When Cho gets to her class, she notices that her class, Class 3, is closed for the time being, and each student that remains was transferred to another class. She wanted to at least respect their passing and hand some flowers over, but it seems that she can't, and with this, she is not the class president any longer. When she gets to her new class, Class 1-5, she looks at her conversation with Jin, which is one-sided, as she hasn't responded to any of her messages, the reason unknown to Cho. She closes her phone and is quite mad that she still ended up in class with that smiley bastard, who is recognized as a hero for no reason. Some students that were already in this class ask him what really happened, as they all know he didn't save any of his friends. He explains that if he hadn't been swift, he would have certainly passed away, as the teacher's punches were like boulders. Cho gnarls in his direction as he explains, but a female student near them hiccups one time and then gets up to face them. She swiftly walks up to Soo-young and kicks him right in his family jewels, shattering them completely. Soo-young asks what is wrong with her, but the student, Lee Ye-jin, says that they are way too loud, and they need to be taught a lesson in order for them to shut up. The other student that was acting cool with Soo-young immediately turns into an order-receiving soldier, as he does not want to mess with the famous Ye-jin. He gets out of her way immediately, with Cho admiring what she did and how confident she is in herself. Before she can walk out of the classroom completely, however, she meets face-to-face with Sun, who just looks at her before moving beside her to get into the classroom. As he enters the classroom, Cho invites him to sit next to her and he does just that, but as he does it, she explains that Ye-jin is really cool. She actually managed to shut Soo-young up by kicking him into a world of pain. Apparently, she is also a real deal in this classroom. As she keeps yapping about the new class and so on, Sun just opens up a bag of chips and starts eating it before class starts, to appease some of his hunger. After the class finishes halfway, Sun tries his best to study, but his stomach just keeps growling, which is quite audible. So Cho invites him to join her for lunch later, as he seems quite hungry. He agrees, but as the teacher explains what will and will not be on the test, Sun suddenly feels the presence of another insector, which hits him like a truck as all of his senses tingle. After class inevitably ends, before Cho can even ask him to get going, he sprints out of the classroom, making her think that he really is hungry. Sun immediately jumps the school fence and starts running like his life depends on it, while the two bug reapers, Tae and Pio, discuss whether or not that fly insector is still alive or captured by someone else. Pio suggests that perhaps he is dead, as it seems that there are other beings that are hunting the insector for one reason or another. As they turn the corner, Sun bumps shoulders with Pio, making Tae scream at him to respect his elders, so he should at least apologize, but Sun does not stop running. Pio tells him to let it go, as that kid is probably just hurrying along somewhere important, but Tae still feels the need to scold him. They both arrive in the teacher's office, where they pull Cho out of her class, and Pio explains that they are here to interview the student who went home when the school cleaning was happening. Cho is surprised to see the smoking bug repellent bug again, but says that the student they are looking for just bolted home just moments ago. Perhaps he was really hungry. Tae believes that it was that rude student who bumped into them earlier, but with their business done, Pio hands Cho a business card and says that she should pass this on to her friend whenever she has the chance to. With that, they decide to go visit Sam at the hospital while Cho just looks at the card, which has a few words of information and a phone number. Below a bunch of roads, deep inside of some long-forgotten tunnels, the insector that Sun had felt waits patiently, and sure enough, he arrives, ready to brawl in his full ant suit. The insector slowly descends from his waiting spot and beckons him to come forward, clearly challenging him to a fight. Sun is the first to attack, but his attack is redirected, and the insector uses his other hands to push him away. This does not stop Sun, however, as he moves in to throw another punch, making the insector start to wobble and move weirdly. This is not because of Sun's punch, though, as he notices that one of his ants is on a piece of silk that is connected to the insector. As a test, he summons a bunch of ants in a ball and throws them at the insector, which eventually reveals that this insector is actually being controlled by a bunch of silk strings that the ants managed to cut up, leaving the insector lifeless on the ground. Sun gets closer to analyze the insector, but as he picks up the strings, the insector seemingly comes back to life and with a final smile, churns out a bomb from his stomach that immediately activates and explodes before Sun can even think of moving. After the dust clears, two insectors stand before Sun, with one of them noting that he probably didn't expect something like that, right? But this must be his first time being caught, considering the countless murders he already did.